Chick along with Sugar Sean Ray, and we are live. As always, we're going to give a few minutes to let some people log on here because I know everybody's got a whole bunch of questions about what's going on. Lots to talk about. Shawn, Italy this week. New point system revealed, and of course, the Olympia down at what, 5 weeks away, I believe we
I
are.
think it's five. Yes.
Ain't that
Exciting.
something? So, yes, it's very exciting, and it's getting to a point now where it's kind of do or die for these people, these competitors that are getting ready, because you get down to the 5 week, 4 week mark, you better be ready or it's going to be a long day in Vegas.
Well, I mean, it's strategic, right? Some of the athletes want to hold off and use the entire year in order to get prepped. And some people, it's a long shot, right? You're trying to get there, and if it doesn't happen, it's pizza and beer for you. You don't have another opportunity to get there. But they find out ahead of time who is actually qualified for the Olympia. And I don't know, for your psyche, some guys need to know who they're competing with and who they're competing against. But we all know what they're competing for, and that's a piece of history.
Well, for speaking of bodybuilding and bodybuilding fans, Shawn, I've just been informed I will be meeting up with our good friend Eduardo Panatta. That's right, from the famed Panatta, the best equipment in the world. We will be in Minneapolis, St. Paul this Tuesday and Wednesday, opening up a gym. It's called Los Champions. Championes? Los Campeones? I'm not big into that's more your neck of the woods, Shawn, for lingo, Los Angeles. Those are all based, I assume, in some
Well,
Spanish history,
newsflash.
Mexican.
Newsflash. Eduardo's coming out this way right after, I believe. So we're trying
All
to
right.
organize a little California tour for Eduardo, spreading the gospel of Panatta sport gym equipment.
Well, if you're in the Minneapolis St. Paul area and you are by Los Champions Gym, come on down and say hello. I will be there with Eduardo, and we'll be unveiling the new equipment that they got coming in. And after that, it's off to the world tour. I come back. Actually, I'll be in my hometown of Rochester, New York, just for about a day and a half on some visit some family. Then it's off to the races, bro. Italy, Australia, Turkey. We will be there together. And back to Italy, back here to the States, 1 week turnaround, and then actually we'll literally be heading out to the Olympia. So, here we go. We got some questions popping in already. Once again, our regulars are on. Big shout out to the mayor of bodybuilding. You got to love the mayor. Your
Yeah, he's
favorite
everywhere.
Night of the Champions memory, Shawn? Very intense show.
I think the mayor is very aware of what I remember about the Night of Champions. First, the most memorable is not my first experience in 1988, Bob, while you were still fighting your way out of the amateurs. I
So,
was competing in my very first Night of Champions. I believe I was 22 years young, and that was won by Phil the Thrill Hill. He got revengeance on me
Phil
by
Hill.
yeah, knocked me off my throne after I beat him at the 87 Nationals. He comes out of nowhere and takes the title in my pro debut. And of course, I had the honor and the privilege to compete with some legendary bodybuilders I admired: Bob Paris, Albert
Yeah.
Beckles, Robbie Robinson. A stellar lineup. The Night of Champions for me was everything I thought it would be. But I believe the mayor is alluding to when I was there as a spectator, and I believe it was Paul Dillette and Marcus Rule, if I'm not mistaken. My memory is a little foggy, but the ultimate decision I didn't like, and I got up and I walked out when they made an announcement. And I think that's when the mayor and his good buddy Rob Tingo fell in love with Sugar Sean Ray, because I walked
Well,
out. I didn't
you
agree.
should have walked out because Marcus Rule beat your brother Bob right here. And they
You
still
were in that
talk
show.
about decision to this day, bro. The fans are out there still debating. It was Marcus Rule's all time best since 2002. And unfortunately, I came up just a little bit short. I'm still going to contend that I was way prettier than Marcus, no question about it. But you know what? What's funny is me and Marcus have become good friends all these years. And because of Marcus Rule and that Night of the Champions, bro, have become so big in Germany now that I've actually unseated David Hasselhoff as the biggest name in Germany.
Yeah,
That, of
fame is
course, could be
fleeting.
eclipsed by Urs Kalashinsky, though, because he's actually coming out German based and he's getting trained by Marcus Rule. How about that for
You
full
know,
circle? That's like
fame,
Apollo
fame is
Creed, Rocky.
Fame is fleeting, Bob, and enjoy it while you can. Bask in the glow. Germany's produced some pretty incredible athletes over the years, and I was a part of witnessing some of the rise, including our good buddy uh, Gunther Schlierkamp coming out of there. Rolf Mueller, one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's very good friends. And the late Josef Wilkos from back in the day, and the late Frank Hildebrandt. So they've had a few guys come out of Germany that we witnessed, and not to forget to mention, the beautiful and lovely Anya Langer, who won the Junior Universe with me out in Australia back in '85, challenged Corey Everson back in the day in 1986, competing and getting second place at the Miss Olympia in her pro debut.
Yeah, definitely some history there. So speaking of Phil Hill, he just came up this week. There was some rumors. We've all been on the death watch, for years of various times that you've been dead, I've been dead. Yeah. However, like Elton John, bro, we're still standing. However, we've got a whole bunch of things to discuss. So I don't want to take too much time on that stuff. Italy coming up this week. Big lineup here. A lot of speculation. We talk about Urs Kalaczynski. We talk about the top names there. Sergio finally making his long-awaited debut here for 2025. Has he brought up his back enough? We saw the front shots. They look fantastic. He could win it all. But as we all know, Shawn, things tend to take a turn when you turn around. If Sergio's brought up his back, he is a legitimate contender to win this title. Yes or no?
Something that very few bodybuilders at his age, I believe he's now north of 40, if I'm not mistaken.
40 or 41, yeah, I believe.
Very, very few bodybuilders can do a whole lot with their back. And when you start talking about improvements, either you got it or you don't. So that's an uphill battle for him. He's going to have a lot of other things go his way in order for the judges not to pay attention to that back, because it's subpar on that level.
Well, you got Mark Hector, another big name in there. Very complete physique. He actually has the reverse. He's got to bring up his lower body to match his upper body. Has he done that? We're going to see. But the big name, of course, everybody's talking about is Big Q, Quentin Beastwood, for those on IG. What a tremendous physique. What a tremendous future that this guy has got ahead of him. And he's been out there training with none other than Mr. Olympia himself, Samson Dauda. So he's got some good training that he's been out there for a few weeks. He's acclimated to the time frame, and he wants this one bad, bro. A couple of runner-up finishes will make you real hungry real quick.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking about him. We've seen this train on the tracks a ways back, and the closer he gets to maturing into that physique, and the more times he gets on that stage, it seems the better he will become. Same way we can say, in hindsight, looking at what happened with a young, impressionable Ronnie Coleman. It took him a while, but he got there, and Quentin seems to be headed in the right direction.
Well, some questions and comments pouring in. Marcus Rule spoke very highly of Bob in one of his videos. Marcus, I love you. And he is solely responsible for the Ashkabab movement. For people that want to know what the hell that means, it's German. They're a little strange, and that's okay. It basically means you've been outbobbed by Bob or something like that. But
yeah,
anyway, you go figure it out. Yeah. Phil Heath was ahead of the time in the 90s. I don't know what that means.
Phil Heath was a baby in the 90s. By the way.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Phil Heath's pro debut was in 2006 at my show in Colorado, and he couldn't have been more than 24 or 23 years old.
Well, listen, Phil Heath went on to win 7 Olympias. Arguably could have won 8 or 9 if you gave him one. The first one against Jay, and that was very, very close. You could have made a case. And I got to be honest, with all due respect to the deceased, I did not have Rhoden beating Phil in that Olympia. Even though Phil was not 100%, he still was beating him on every other pose. The midsection was a distraction, yes. But much like, we always talk about Arnold and whether he should have won the 80 Olympia. Was Arnold at his best? No. Was he still the best that was there? Yes.
Well, a lot of people say I agree with everything you say. In this one, I'm going to categorically. All you have to do is go back, watch the pay-per-view where I had Shawn Rhoden winning that contest from the prejudging to the finish, merely on the mere fact that I'd been in that scenario before, and I had to watch a guy that was out of shape, that had a bunch of titles, and won because of his history and not because of what he was showing on the show. Phil was bad coming out the gate and got worse as it went on, and the only thing you remember after the show was how bad Phil's stomach was and how phenomenal Shawn Rhoden was. You got to get rewarded for that, and the judges did the right thing.
All right, so we got some good clarifications here. Caesar says, sorry, he meant Phil Hill was ahead of his time, not Phil Heath, so that makes more sense.
Yeah, he's a different body. He's a different beast.
Yes. Listen, I had to stand next to Phil Hill. So did you, and you beat him in the overall. But I had to stand next to this beast, and he was something, boy. Great to see another live. Appreciate that. Is Sergio running out of time at 40 or 41? Is he running out of time, Sean? Is this do or die for Sergio?
Yeah, I mean, this is it. Put up or shut up, because these shows aren't getting easier. I don't know, and I'm not sure that the competition is getting harder. I'm not seeing a whole lot of young bodybuilders coming out that are wowing everybody. But if you put him in a lineup with the 7 or 8 guys that are actually doing the business, he's struggling to make the top 10 of an Olympia lineup, let alone find the winner's circle in a pro lineup. So he's got a lot. He's got a lot on his shoulders this weekend, and this is not a deep lineup.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm rooting for the kid. I'd love to see him realize his potential. But scroll up a little bit. Are there any more home videos coming out? Home gym videos? Yes. Actually, I got some more equipment coming, Sean. Yes, I will squeeze another 5-6 pieces of Panatta into my home gym. So yes, keep in tune, guys. Like I say, you will definitely see some more gym stuff and some tips. How does Muscle Discord, aka Mr. Potato Head, still have Chris Cormero on his podcast? I will just go out on a short limb. I have not talked about this to Chris. All I can say is what you saw was probably taped some time ago. And if I was a betting man, I'd say Chris is probably not long for the Mr. Potato Head show.
Yeah, and in this industry, some people love a microphone, they love a camera, and they don't care about all the noise that's going on. They just want to be seen, and that's also an alternative for Chris as well.
Well, I'm still waiting for the apology video for Mr. Potato Head, not to me, but to the 2 people that he has stolen the Mr. Canada title from, because he's never won it, not even once. But that's stolen valor, Sean. I mean, honestly, come on, Mr. Potato Head. Go apologize to these gentlemen and take that thing off your Instagram. All right, yeah, I don't know why Chris is there. We've got some more Jim. Can anyone tell me what Sergio, lots of Sergio comments, what Sergio Jr. has done in the world of bodybuilding? Due to being the son of a legend, he hasn't made his mark at the Mr. Olympia. Well, that's listen. Listen. I got to defend Sergio Jr. Listen, you're the son of an absolute legend in this sport, arguably the guy with the best genetics of all time. You can't win that, bro. I don't care what you do.
Yeah, there's no comparison to senior and junior. He's definitely not a Hunter Labrada-esque bodybuilder. Hunter took what his dad gave him and ran with it and has a slew of victories and a number of Olympia placings. Sergio, on the other hand, has been distracted. And I'm not so sure that, you can. I think that one of the greatest bodybuilders was Sergio Oliva, period. So
yeah.
you can't just hand that off to a guy. There's so many other mental moving parts that Sergio Jr. doesn't have that his dad had. His dad was a groundbreaker. There was no comparison. There's a much bigger footprint here by comparison to what Junior has to compete against. But his dad, there was nothing to compare him with. He was just a phenom. Now, that being said, you can compare Junior with what's there today. And apples and oranges, there is no comparison. He can't walk in his dad's shadow. He's trying to find his own way. And I think Hunter Labrada wins that one.
Well, this would be like Joseph, Schwarzenegger, Arnold's kid, getting into bodybuilding. It's like, look, kid, no matter what you do, you can't follow that. Okay, you can't follow Arnold. You can't follow Sergio. There are names in this industry. Listen, it's the same in any industry, right? It's like trying to follow Walter Payton. You want to be a running back in the NFL. It ain't gonna happen. Nobody's matching up the sweetness.
Part of the problem is he's only got half his dad's DNA, right? The other half came from somewhere else. So it's not a genetic footprint that you're going to see a carbon copy. You may be able to see those athletic achievements, whether it's in track and field or basketball or football, or it's a team sport. But an individual sport like this, it's very rare. We're lucky to actually live in a time where we saw 2 guys that were the sons of legendary bodybuilders make it to the big stage, which is the Olympia. It's a tougher road to hoe when your name is Sergio Jr.
Who's talking about hoes, Sean? Come on now. All right. Any thoughts on what the Mr. O press conference will look like this year? I have not heard anything of any changes. I would suspect it might be very similar to what you've seen in the past, although you're seeing a lot of changes coming up, and these guys are always receptive to change, which is always good, as long as it's in the positive direction. One of those changes, Sean, this week that was revealed was the new point system. And I, for one, think this is a very much a positive, especially that as the guy that's up there announcing 10,000 names. Anything to cut back to get the best of the best on stage is always good. This is a great start. I'm sure it'll need some tweaking as it goes. So everybody just calm down out there. I see all the math wizards are out there already trying to figure out if this is going to be good or bad or how much it's going to help. It's going to cut down approximately in half. Okay. And that's a real good start when you're talking about going from 70 plus, which is probably what we're looking at this year in those four big divisions. And this is for next year. And that will probably hack that down into about 35, maybe 40 at the most.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to talk about next year because it's so far off in the future. Look, I got a birthday coming up next week, so it's hard to look into what's going to happen next year. So it's kind of a strange time to make this announcement. I think it should have probably come after the Olympia in October. This was an announcement that probably could have waited until November when all of the shows have been completed for the calendar year. Then people would have had a chance to digest what these changes mean. These bodybuilders are on diets, they're training, they're traveling, and to try to absorb what's happening right now with this news break, it's just another thing that they've got to kind of like try to wrap around their head. I don't even want to think about it until we get past October the 12th. And right now we're focused on the sit number 61 and all this other stuff. It's a lot of noise right now, Bob. So I'm not going to give it a lot of weight.
Yeah, well, a lot of Sergio
I'll believe it when I see it.
He's very popular out there, but you know what? I'd be remiss, Shawn, if I didn't use that phrase once again in my career. I can't get past the idea that I think, and listen, call me crazy. It wouldn't be the first time people think we're nuts, okay? But I like man. I like what he brings. If you could just envision him supersized, which is what he is, he's coming in about 40 pounds heavier than the last you saw him on a classic stage. So he doesn't have to bring it down so much. And for those saying, well, but his arms are too small, listen, his arms might have been too small when he had to suck it down to make weight, but those arms will blow up along with the rest of them in the open. That he's just got to make sure he's in condition. But I think he's going to be contending for this win with Quentin. Shawn, what say you?
Well, in the words of another legendary historical bodybuilder, who's hers?
Who?
You don't remember hearing that somewhere? I heard it.
It sounds vaguely familiar, but I'll tell you exactly who Urs is, all right? Urs is a guy who's not going to be in 8th place at this Italy show. He's going to be one of the last two men standing, and don't be surprised, folks, if he pulls the upset of the year.
All right. That being said, I don't know that 40 pounds in less than a year just because you can is a smart idea. He looked great as a classic physique bodybuilder. If he comes in putting a bunch of weight on, we all know how that ends. Soft, watery, and smooth. Yeah, maybe bigger, but it's still a bodybuilding competition. The things that we love about Urs, he was in great shape, so we could see things on his body and the potential. Putting on more than 10 pounds in 1 year is a mistake. I can already predict what he's going to look like under the bright lights,
all right, sir.
The sweat machine, and the water and the color. He could turn into a mess. We saw that with Dorian Yates in 1994. If this guy puts on too much weight too soon, Bob, it could be a recipe for disaster. If he goes very small increments and allows his body to assimilate with that weight, he could be exactly what you're talking about. But I think you're a little ahead of the game right now, saying 40 pounds is an advantage for him, because I don't think it is.
Well, there's a reason I get the big buck, my friend. That is because I am truly ahead in the game. And so you heard it here first, folks. Mark this on your calendars or however we're doing it these days, because I do believe that this kid got what it. And you know what? He's fearless. He's young. Yeah, let me tell you, youth is a great equalizer. You know, when you're young and you're gunning for it, man, you don't even thinking about all these haters and naysayers and things. And but I'm going to say that he's in shape. And I tell you what else he's got, bro. Talk about how cool is this going to be? There's a pro show in Germany, I believe the week after or 2 weeks maybe after. I could be wrong on that. Maybe that's in his home country right there. You want to talk about a sold out place? Because you know those guys will be out there, and Marcus will be out there with his people and all that. So even if he doesn't come up short here, he's going to be in Germany. Now, somebody can correct me because we got statisticians on here, I'm sure. Does the Germany show also qualify you for the Olympia? So does he have another bite at the apple? There is the Florida show. What's
It'd
that?
be for next year. It'd be for
That's
next
for
year if he
next
would have
year.
shown
Okay,
up.
well, that answers that. There is a show in Florida, but that doesn't have open. That has some other categories in it. That is a qualifier. That's, I believe, this week, actually, same time as Italy.
If Italy's a qualifier, then this weekend in Florida would be a qualifier as well.
Yeah, well, like I said, but they don't have open, so that's not really helping things. Um, Real quick, back to the point, Shawn. What's your vision on that? I mean, do you think, do you like the new system? Do you think it gets the job done? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of systems we could use. You can come up with
Yeah.
5 systems right now that all, kind of get the job done. But overall, I think it does have some good prospects of, like I say, it's a starting point, right? There's going to be some tweaks. Maybe they add majors, or we're calling them major titles, the majors that give you more points, to the mix as it goes. And there is a provision that if you win 2 pro shows, you can get your way in there, which is good. So, the incentive has to be there. Or if any of these divisions blow up, that they could get added to that formula, because that's the very essence of what makes that have to be a thing right now, right? Is that it's not a problem, by the way, folks, unless it was not painfully obvious. The reason that there's only 4 divisions is those are the only 4 divisions that we have upwards of over 50 people in each division. The other ones, like the Mr. Olympia, we only end up with 20 something in there. Then a few people always pull out or get ill or something. Rafael Brando, I heard, pulled out again. Second year in a row.
Yeah, well, when you have all of these qualifications, you've got to find a way to remedy, stop the bleeding. At the end of the day, I don't. It makes me no difference in terms of who gets qualified. I'm only concerned about the finals. And again, the finals is where I think the very best in the world should reside, right? And I think 10 is my magic number. If the federation or the promoters agree that 15 is the final, then I hope that's across the board when I get to the finals. So I hope the
Yeah.
prejudging is used for exactly what it's designed, elimination. But yeah, I think these athletes now have to become more concerned about not peaking just once a year. If you're gonna
Yeah.
try to get a one, if you're gonna be as a bodybuilder one and done, then you're gonna have to wind up in the bigger shows, the Arnold, the New York, the Pittsburgh, and you're gonna go up against the heavy hitters. But remember, the Olympia still the top 3, I believe it is, qualify automatically. And
Yeah.
there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that Mr. Olympia shows up. But like we saw last year or this year, they can show up at the Arnold Classic and in Pittsburgh. So it does weed out a few of the guys that don't deserve to be on that Olympia stage.
Well, with the prize monies going up all over the place, it's certainly an insurance that those top names will be out there anyways competing. Because I always had a notion that only the winners should qualify for next year, but that's kind of splitting hairs with this. It doesn't really matter because those guys are going to be out there looking for 500 grand at the Arnold, looking for 100,000 plus at Pittsburgh, New York, that big paycheck and the prestige. So
Let
Bob
me
will
help you.
be at the show.
Let me help you real quick, Bob. That Arnold 750,000.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I was going off of last year. Yeah, that's supposed to go up. So, Mayor, so Bob will be at the show in Italy. No, I just said I will be in Rochester, then I'll be in Minneapolis, St. Paul for Panatta. Well, we are based in Italy, Panatta. I will not be in attendance in Italy. Cheering for Sergio. I think Nick is going to get killed if he isn't dialed in, Shawn. What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of guys will get killed if they're not dialed in.
Yeah,
You got to
right?
remember, I think this might be the last time we see William Bonac in the Mr. Olympia. You got to be mindful of that. It might be the last time you see Brandon Curry. So we've seen careers start and end over the years, and you got to pay attention because these bodybuilders that are going into their final stages, they don't announce it. Most of them don't say it's my last Olympia, right? We find out like after the performance that it's their last time. So that's why I don't like to miss the Olympia because we see careers start and we also see careers end. This is Olympia you
Yeah,
don't want to miss. In light of William Bona, in light of Brandon Curry, what will happen with Nick Walker, the X Factor? It's been 2 years since
yeah,
we've seen him on an Olympia stage. I've always said it's not guaranteed. That stage is very big. We got Rafael Brando for the second year in a row pulling out of the Mr. Olympia. Things happen the closer we get to the show. And the only way that you know what happens is if you are there. So go to MrOlympia.com and find out how to get a ticket.
All right, Shawn from Caesar. Keon Pearson in the open class. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I believe he'll be there next year. He'll
Really?
be the defending 2-time 212 Olympia winner. And in 2026, he'll be Mr. Olympia.
So you got him winning. He's already 2-time, right? So you got him winning number 3 this year, and then you think he's just going to shoot over in the Open?
I believe so.
Okay. Listen,
you're talking to an
I'll tell you
expert.
what, he's got the best physique. Okay, when we
Yeah.
talk about bodybuilding, and you and I are always talking about all the factors and checking the boxes and all that, shape, symmetry, proportion, muscularity, conditioning, all that stuff. The only Achilles heel he ever had was conditioning, and he obviously seems to have solved that problem, being a 2-time Olympia champ. So let's go down hypothetical lane as we always do, Shawn. Keon goes in this year. I don't see anybody beat him unless he falls off the stage or something major happens. He's going to win this year. I don't think there's no question about it. He goes into the Open next year. Where do you have him? Is he contending?
I have him winning. I have
the
Keon
Mr.
as
Olympia.
I have Keon as our next Mr. Olympia champion.
Wow,
Based on what I have been witnessing in his progress to this point, he will win.
Huge.
He will win Mr. Olympia. He's your next Mr. Olympia winner. I think this year we're going to have a repeat Mr. Olympia winner. So make sure we understand the dynamic. There's a Mr. Olympia winner that's going to go in this year's Olympia. He'll either be a 2-time champion over 3 different other Mr. Olympia winners. And then in 2026, we're going to hear and new.
Well, that is a hell of an endorsement right there. And I'm not doubting it because Keon is a talent. He's a generational talent. That physique, that waist, and all, and his the way he's put together is exceptional. My only question to you is, and you've been probably victim of this more than anybody in the history of the sport, is the size difference going to make a difference when he's sandwiched in between Andrew Jack and Samson Dauda and the rest of these monsters that are out there? Is that just going to be too much to overcome for a man of his stature?
Well, I've been there before, and I don't think so, because Andrew Jack and Samson are not comparable. And when you look at what Keon's bringing, and I do believe that Samson's going to be a 2-time Mr. Olympia winner, by the way. I believe Samson's winning this year. And then next year, I believe you're going to have a new Mr. Olympia in the form of Keon. And Keon's going to win it because he's the most complete. He doesn't have to be, he's a 212 champion. He doesn't have to be 250 pounds. I believe Keon at 220, 222 pounds is going to be more than enough. And remember, a young upstart by the name of Muhammad bin Aziza beat Dorian Yates.
Yeah, true.
And a guy by the name of Muhammad McCowie was right there and beat Lee Haney when Lee Haney did his first Olympia. It's not impossible. There are some giant killers. And I don't think we're going to look at the Olympia through the same lens in 2026. We're going to be looking at some things very differently come 2026. There are guys that are not as good as Keon that actually became Mr. Olympia. So to think that Keon cannot win that show, I think is a losing bet. I think if Keon doesn't get hurt and he keeps on maturing, he's going to grow right into his physique. 220, 222, he'll be your next Mr. Olympia.
All right, let me get to this one. Who put that out? That one out there? Any plans for yourself, Bob and Shawn, to have episodes focused on specific legends you both have trained with, discussing your training, diet, drug use, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Big Paul Dillette would be a good start. To answer the quick, short answer is yes. As you guys have noticed, we have upgraded to VOB Media, and that we've done that for a reason. Okay, so we are expanding the brand. We're going to be putting things like that out. Me and Shawn are all over the place, and a lot of times we're able to be together. So we'd love to get some video. Listen, anybody from a Paul Dillette to any of the Where Are They Now type guys. We just talked about Phil Hill. What a great interview that would be, Shawn. Or how about a Bob Paris? Like Bob Paris is like that interview you just can't get. He doesn't have a lot of interest. I was actually out in that area, his area, a couple of years ago, and we tried to get a hold of him, and he just didn't have any interest in talking about anything bodybuilding. But, listen, we have great access to all these pros and legends. So, yes, we will be increasing the VOB media and getting some of these legends on. I want to do stuff like in person, Shawn. Like, I want to go there to wherever these guys are. In their backyard, we tracked down Phil Hill. And
Yeah.
what's he doing? A day in the life of. Grab some lunch and talk about the old days. I think they'd be great episodes.
Well, that's why I think VOB media is going to be a lot different than what we've seen, because we're going to be able to have more access and we're going to bring more diversity. And so rather than talk about it, we're going to be about it. We're on the eve of the Mr. Olympia coming up, but 2026 looks bright in terms of content changes, and also finding some of these old relics and dusting them off and finding out how life has been treating them.
So here's a couple of quick ones. Bob, do you ever talk to Mike O'Hearn? Yeah, I see Mike on occasion. We're not usually ever in the same place at the same time. We run in different circles when it comes to appearances and things like that. But Mike's always been a good guy. Lots of 212 guys are successful in the Open. Yeah, I wish we just got Flex Lewis. Listen, I don't take it away from Flex that he decided to be a 7-time Olympia champion. Could he have done well in the Open? I think he could have done okay. Maybe taking a 4th or a 5th or a 6th, and that's commendable. But to me, always better to be the champion. Muhammad Benaziza beat Dorian Yates at the Night of the Champions. Yes, he did. But I got to say this. He beat a very early Dorian Yates. The Dorian Yates that won the Olympia the year after he lost to Haney was a sight to behold. The first 3 years of Dorian winning, that was a hell of a physique. It was the last 3 that.
Yeah, Bob, you cannot take it away from Benaziza because Dorian was young. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I beat Ronnie Coleman. Flex beat Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah,
NASA beat Ronnie Coleman. We don't want that taken away because Ronnie didn't figure out his drug cycle, okay? Or because he didn't have
right.
a guru at the time. Ronnie's older than all of us. So I relish the fact that I beat Ronnie Coleman just the way that Muhammad Benaziza beat Dorian Yates, because he was Dorian Yates when he beat him. And Muhammad McCowie was Muhammad McCowie when he beat Lee Haney in his first Olympia back in '83.
So lots of Dave Palumbo kind. Why is Dave always bad mouthing Bob? Listen, we've been going at it for years. You listen, Italians are just like that. Okay, me and Dave are fine. We like to bust each other's balls here and there. That's cool. And don't get me wrong. Listen, I've been generally pissed at Dave in the past for some crazy stuff that he's put out there, but we don't really put that kind of stock in it. We're both old now. Let's see. Bob, are you going to apologize to Mr. Potato Head? For what? Exposing him?
Yeah.
Making people realize that he's a complete fool? Exposing that he has no pedigree, no background? Again, Mr. Microphone that was gifted to him for Christmas, and now he's an expert. No, there's no apology there. Are you scared of losing your MC job? No, I'm not. And let me tell you why, okay? I'm in the bonus, people, okay? I've been doing this for many, many, many years. This will be my 20th year at the Olympia. My first year was with my good buddy and co-host, Sugar Shawn Ray. We did the first 2 together.
Yes.
And I've been doing it ever since. I've been doing this for 20 years, folks. I'm in the bonus, okay? If they want to go in a different direction, they decide that they want a new face or whatever, listen, it is what it is. That's not up to me. I'm here for as long as they'll have me and to do this. But I've pretty much peaked out when it comes to, years in the game, where you are, in this business, that type of thing. I'm known worldwide as the voice of bodybuilding, and I truly appreciate. And, we sign autographs and take pictures with thousands of people all over the world. So should it go that? Listen, I'm not going to do it forever. But it's the best seat in the house, and I'll certainly do it for as long as they'll have me. I'd love to see Sid be the new MC. Listen, I love Sid. Sid's great voice, great announcer. That's kind of his forte, is announcing. There was a little bit of a difference, but he does a great job as an MC. So, people, you're not going to get me and Sid to fight. We actually like each other. Okay, we have nothing but good to say. What's up, Bob and Shawn? Good to see another live. What's up, BP? How you? Hey, what's up, Kenson? Good to see him back on there. I should create a video. You guys should create a video analyzing the Mr. Olympias where Shawn and Lavroni should have beaten Dorian Yates. That would be interesting.
Well, it depends on which ones.
Right?
Which Olympians which Olympians is he talking about?
Yeah, listen, I have been very vocal over the years that I got Dorian winning 3. I think the other 3 obviously questionable. You certainly with one. Lavroni definitely could have made a case. And Nasser was right there at his all-time best. Dorian in his prime, you can't take anything away. Those first 3 years, bro. I mean,
Well, I
you
think
talk about
93
taking on
was
a
his,
brick
93 was
house.
93 was his best year. 93 was his best year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that was a sight that, listen, Dorian changed the game. You can't say that about a lot of people. He literally changed the game with that size mixed with that conditioning. We've never seen that previously. He also ushered in a whole era of people changing their training around, because before that, most of us overtrained. It was Dorian that kind of took the whole Mensner heavy duty, but again, he wasn't as strict with it. But if there's any contribution that Dorian made to this industry, Shawn, it was making people realize that recovery was more important than tearing it down in the gym.
Well, no, and as a competitor and a rival, he made me better. And I think Flex would say the same. I think Kevin would agree. Without Dorian, we're not tapping into what our dream was supposed to look like for us. He made me get my ass out of bed. He made me do extra reps. He was in my head as an athlete. Without that driving force coming from the UK, I don't know that I would have gotten as good as I did without knowing how good he was. So we needed that. We needed each other. Go ahead. I'm back.
You lost Shawn. Your phone's ringing. Is that Pittsburgh, girl? Is it Pittsburgh calling you?
Yeah, I sent him the
voicemail. You sent Jim Mannion the voicemail? Oh my God! All right, that's it.
No time.
That's it for Shawn. Shawn, here's a throwback. Shawn, any what happened? I lost it. Oh, there we go. Any plans for another California muscle camp? Wow,
no, it's definitely coming back. I'm gonna be working with the gym franchise, my good friend George Jackson, down in El Cajon in the Chula Vista area. We are actively trying to put that together for sometime in the month of January. It will be all over social media. Also, my new website that we launched, ShawnRayOfficial.com. Make sure you go there. And my handle on Instagram is Shawn Ray IFBB Pro. So yeah, we'll make an announcement. We're bringing it back. It'll be in South County, down near San Diego.
bro, you got to bring, if you bring back that, you got to bring back the golf tournament, man. Because if there's anywhere I'm going to excel and kick everybody's ass, as you know, I'm an avid golfer, even for a big mofo that I am. So, although I got to be honest, bro.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said it, because January is the month I'm trying to get it at the top of the year. So
all right,
keep your eyes open.
Listen, I am in. Oh, there it is. Kenson's right on it. The Pittsburgh bat phone. I can hear from here. I have the bat phone. Could you grab that? It's on my desk right over there.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah, go grab it. I'll show everybody that I actually have the Pittsburgh bat phone here. It's not a, you guys think we're making stuff up. All right, here we go. How would Dorian have done at the Olympia if he would have shown up full, like in those 3 weeks out, black and white pictures? Well, I'll give you my 2 cents quick, and then Shawn can chime in. Let me tell you something. There was a huge difference between looking big in the gym, like those black and white photos that you saw with Dorian that are absolutely just iconic. But if you actually took that physique that you see in those pictures with the minus the socks, minus the black socks, and you put that on stage, it wouldn't translate. Okay, you would not. It does not translate. There's a reason that when Dorian was in his best and his face was sucked down and he was in shape, those big in the gym shots that we've seen. Listen, Dennis James looked like,
oh my God,
damn, Mr. Olympia in the gym.
Kamali in his mom's kitchen. Oh. I mean, I got some great shots of me 2 weeks out from the competition too. It's different because, again, and I mentioned this about Nick Walker, it's not what you look like before you get there, but when you do arrive at the Olympia, and this is coming from someone who's been there, it's like going into the arena and you look across the ring and there's Mike Tyson waiting for you, right? You know,
right.
You studied Mike, you seen what he does, and then you step in the freaking ring, and it can go south really quick. Ask Raymond Dino at the Olympia when the waterworks turned on, right? Ask Sergio Oliva Jr. or even Hunter Labrada what the waterworks feel like under the bright lights of pressure and expectation. Some people can adapt and adjust, and others, I mean, I remember Lou Ferrigno when he made his comeback, he was sweating and the paint was just pouring off.
Yeah.
It happened to the great Dorian Yates. It's one thing when you don't have the pressure and you're in the gym and you're pumped up and you have a great photographer like Kevin Horton getting a black and white photo. It's another thing when you look over and there's Kevin Lavroni, Shawn Ray, Nash Somebody, Vince Taylor, Rich Gaspari. I mean, it changes the dynamic. of what you think is possible. Dorian was very gratuitous with some of the outcomes that he got. And Nasser, myself, Flex, and Kevin would be real quick to argue should he have 6 Sandals. Fate went his
Well,
way, but it's not unanimous in our opinion.
yeah, this is very true. But there it is, Shawn. For those looking, I have the official
That's
fan
it.
phone. Oh, hang on, it's actually on silent. But let me get that there. Yeah,
What are you
ahead,
What are you
Jim.
gonna say to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, hey Jim, what's going on? Yeah, no, we're doing a live right now. What's that? Did I get the check? Yeah, of course I got the check. I always get the check.
Give it to
And
Phil
by the way, thank you
Clayhart.
very much. I do appreciate the increase, as always, brother. So, what's that? Tell Shawn to keep it short. How about that? Jim's got a, yeah, Jim, let me get back to the live and I'll catch up. Listen, make sure you have to call me. Remember the time difference for Italy coming up, Jim. So yes, you have to call me, when we can actually do something about that. Okay. Yeah. I'll talk to you soon. All right, brother.
Hey, Bob, do me a favor. Do us all a favor, Bob. Give that check to your boy Phil Clayhart so we can shut him up.
So, God, I'm not even I ain't even bringing that up. So, all right. Be more worried about background, not MC. It's like a new hate company against Bob from Gangland. Yes, we see the hate out there. Listen, if they're not talking bad about you, it's better than them not talking at all, right? That would mean I'm not doing something right. As for the background, we have been vocalists for years, okay? And I expect you're going to see some changes this year. Listen, I get the sentiment of a, quote, black curtain. Do we need to go that archaic in our stuff? No, you just need a dull, we call it the Starry Night backdrop, right? Where you
How
got
about we
just a
talk
little,
about what we don't need? What we don't need is an LED screen showing us
right.
bright lights all
So,
over the place. That's what we don't need.
correct. Yeah. What you need is, listen, you can have all kinds of stuff going on, but it has to be dark. And that's what I assume that they're going to do this year. We hear you out there, folks. There's only so much we can do, by the way. When you talk about, hey, Bob, don't worry about that's not my department, folks. Okay. I have to deal with stuff when I get there. Do I have an opinion on it? Of course I do. Thank you. Really appreciate you, Shawn Ray. When you come on? Hey, Shawn, when you coming on EP and his channel? When you coming on Kenson's channel?
Who's EP?
That's the EP09. It's the green and black logo that you see.
He doesn't see.
I guess somebody's gonna have to send me. I go on all kinds of channels, man. When I'm
I'll
asked,
send it to you.
I don't have a formal invite.
I'll send it to you. I'll get with. He's a good guy. He's actually
Okay.
he's not a Mr. Potato Head or one of these goofs. He actually knows what he's talking about.
I'm ready.
What do we got here? Let's scroll up. Thanks for the answer. I appreciate. Will Keon become the next multiple time Mr. O when he eventually goes? Shawn's already
How about one at a time? One at a time.
pretty much answered that. Keep going up. I think we missed a few. Oh, hang on. Hey, tell Jim I said what's up. Yeah, I just talked to Jim. Don't worry about that. Yeah. What does Andrew Jack need to fulfill his potential? I think this guy has a Mr. Olympia physique if he makes just a few little tweaks.
What he needs is
Yeah,
this
what's
pressure.
Andrew Jack need?
He needs this pressure. He needs this smoke. Is he qualified?
Yeah.
Okay. This is it. If he doesn't do what he's supposed to do this time, why talk about him? I mean, he needs the pressure and the weight of this contest to arrive.
No,
So
listen, listen, give me your expert. What does he need to, what changes does Andrew Jack need to make to win?
First of all, he doesn't need to be doing this on stage. It's a bad look. You're
Yeah,
hiding something. You're
I
hiding
agree.
something, man. It's the Olympia. Show the body, right? All this crap doesn't work for me. Keep
He
your
tends
tongue
to
in your
hide
mouth,
away.
okay? Keep your tongue in your mouth. We don't need to see your tongue. You're not Gene Simmons. Don't wear the freaking eye thing. We don't need props. We don't need the Robin whatever mask that was. Go up there and battle. Battle like this is your last opportunity to compete in the Olympia. He's been slighting the hamstrings, in my opinion. The back needs a little bit more detail, and he needs to pose with a little bit more confidence. I think if he shows his physique off a little bit better than he has, that will go a long way. But I think he's been very hesitant. He's been very unsure, and we need to see the confidence match the physique.
All right, Shawn. Okay, we just answered that. He says he'll have you on any time, Shawn. So we'll make that happen. Go up. I think there's probably some. We saw that. We saw that.
We already go.
And be more worried about this. What does Andrew Jack do? I'm short as hell. I don't know what's okay. Well,
He was talking about himself.
Great. Somebody says, don't worry about the haters, Bob. Bob, don't ever
We ever do.
change. You're like Sid, but you're the voice of the Olympia. Listen, I appreciate. Listen, my mother thinks I'm the best in the world, bro. What can I say?
That's all that matters.
Bob, your favorite of being MC at your favorite of being MC at the Olympia? Well, me, of course, but um, I don't. Why would I pick somebody else? I mean, come on, Mayor. I mean, that's.
No, what do you like about being the MC?
Oh, I got it. Yeah, I guess you could. What do I like best about being the MC at the Olympia? That actually is a good question. Listen, you're a part of history, right? I mean, there's no grander stage, especially when we were at the arena, Shawn. When we look out there and there's almost 10,000 people looking back at you, and they're all waiting for you to say something, right? So there's a lot of pressure on you, I won't lie, to make sure things run smooth, put out fires. There's 15, 20 things that go wrong during any Olympia or high-end type of thing. That's just the nature of production and business. It's your job as the MC to make sure that that never gets seen by the audience, or you do the best that you can with it. So the best part is listen, I'm still up there. I'm closer to the guys than the judges are. So you still got the best seat in the house. And listen, me and Shawn have grown up. Our whole lives have been dedicated to this sport, in this industry. So, I mean, you can't beat that. That's the highest position that you can have. And it's been fantastic. How does a supplement contract work? Shawn, you've had multiple contracts over the years and continue to represent. How's a general supplement contract work with the athletes?
Well, I mean, typically supplement companies want to be a part of what it is the athlete's trying to achieve. And in post-retirement, I've gone from just the personal achievement with my body to now using my business acumen, my relationships, my network, and my contacts to promote health and wellness. I think if you're trying to get a sponsorship as a competing athlete, the first order of business is to compete, right? You don't have to necessarily be a winner, but you got to know, like being on stage and showing the results or the fruits of your labor is only a part of the process. Learning what it takes to build that body, what you did to do that. We didn't have social media back in the day. Now you have it. You can chart your progress. You can project what it is that you're giving credit to, how you feel and how you look. And send those companies out there photographs, your resume, also showing them, telling them what the product means to you, what it does for you. And look, if that's what you want to do, be a sponsored athlete, there are ways to get sponsored, but you've got to be very persistent. It's not like an audition, but you got to be true to the commitment to the product. On the flip side, in retirement, for me, what I've done is I've networked all the gyms, all the stores, all the promoters, all the athletes, and I brought them all a brand awareness. I've let them know what we have on the market, and if they could try it, tell me, give me the feedback. If they like to carry it in their store, if they want to share it with their members, those are the things that I do as a representative of the company globally with Mutant. But as an up and coming bodybuilder, nothing screams success as winning, and every company wants to be associated with a champion. So that's your easiest road in.
So Lowe says, Bob, thoughts on Steve Reeves? Steve Reeves was my absolute, he's just a legend. Obviously, he's Steve Reeves. He was Hercules. As you can tell from behind me, I've got quite the collection of Steve Reeves stuff. I don't know if you guys can pay it around. Oh, God forbid, right?
I got
You can
production
see,
crew.
Shawn, I've got quite the,
Nice.
because I can't even get it all in. One of these days, I'll do a whole thing on my collection of stuff, but listen, Steve Reeves was a pioneer in this game, and literally the standard by which modern bodybuilding is based on. Hang on. Could Fitzwater win the Olympia if he continues to improve the next couple of years? Listen, I wouldn't count Fitzwater out. He was fourth. He's got a beautiful shape and all that. And I thought, honestly, Shawn, if Fitzwater had shown up 100% in Pittsburgh, I think he would have beaten Derek and Nick.
Yeah, I mean, listen, anything's possible when you look at the Ronnie Coleman story, right?
Right.
I mean, Ronnie came from dead last on a very slow burn. Took 5 years for us to even pay attention to him. Jay Cutler in his first Olympia was out of the top 10, okay? His second Olympia, he wound up in second. No, his third Olympia, he wound up in second. And then, of course, he won 4 of those, 6 runner-ups. Anything is possible when we talk about the Mr. Olympia if you qualify.
So this one's coming from some guy named Lee. I mean, it looks like a bodybuilder, Shawn. He says, looking forward to the seminar in New Jersey.
Yes, looks like I'm going to be reunited with the other half of the duo, the twins. Remember that movie, Bob, called The Twins?
I do,
Um,
yes.
in this life, sometimes you are bound and bonded in some form or fashion with your past. And at the end of the day, through the aging process, you have it's a love affair in the beginning, then it's War of the Roses, and then you look
Right.
back and you kind of go, you know what? All of those fights, all of that love has brought us to this reunion. So it's going to be a reunion of I don't know, reunion of champions and short people.
Listen, yeah, and listen, and I know you love doing stuff with Lee because he's one of the few people you're actually taller than. But
There we
all right,
go.
this says, Bob, have you seen the latest photos of Hottie's right bicep and tricep and how unbalanced it looks compared to his left bi and tri? What's going on there? Even his right quad sweep looks unbalanced. Shawn, I haven't really seen anything recent on Hottie, but have you seen anything or noticed anything?
Yeah, and that's standard. Sometimes when the guys get a little bit older, we saw Jay Cutler in the Olympia. He had a
Yeah.
bicep issue. He had a bicep issue. Dexter Jackson had a notorious calf issue for a little bit. So did Flex Wheeler. So these anomalies are sometimes things that you notice over time, some atrophy. We saw Ronnie Coleman have some nerve damage with his arm, with his quadricep, his lat. I remember notoriously Ronnie Coleman at the Orleans Arena, he had some issues flaring out his lats and some atrophy. As you get further along in your career, some of these bodybuilders you're gonna start to see the wear and tear. It's natural.
This says here from Anastasia. Why everybody hating on overseas bodybuilders? I don't know who's everybody, but never
Yeah.
talk about Derek Synthol, lats, shoulders, arms, but it's okay. Comment on Hottie. Oh, I just lost it. German guys, etc. Don't answer if it's not comfortable. Listen, we answer we answer anything anytime, right?
Yeah.
First of all, the somebody put out, I wish I saw who put it out, but somebody put out an excellent video chronicling Derek Lunsford because he gets accused that he's shooting synthol in his lats. Okay, now the funny part is, Shawn, is it was an excellent video done, which encompasses Derek's entire career and has pictures from when he was basically a kid up till now, and they've always looked like that. So it's not something that he's doing. Anybody who knows anything about gear, you don't shoot gear into your armpit. Okay, so that's not what's going on there. Okay, that's just the way his muscle pops or whatever. That's not synthol. That wouldn't be helping, and it wouldn't look like that there. So that's not what's going on. But I wish if I can find it, we'll put it out in a future episode. But somebody did their homework really good and backed up that. It's like, no, it's always looked like that. That said, somebody says, what? This is Playboy Stummy Hurt? Got to get a better name there, man. What does Shawn think about the current state of posing? Was he also against judging posing routines?
Yeah, I like the idea that they would judge the posing routine if the scores match what they're judging. That
Right.
never happened during my era. What do I think about modern open bodybuilding posing? It doesn't exist. It's gone the way of the 8-track tape. It's gone the way of the payphone. It's gone the way of the cassette recorder. It's gone the way of the phone book. So those are 100% gone. We don't see posing in open bodybuilding. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, because thank God we have Classic Physique to remind us of what's possible. But there's no open bodybuilders copying what they're doing in the Classic Physique. So if you want to see posing, watch Classic. You want to see guys hit some bodybuilding poses, watch open.
And let's again, we don't mince words, folks. We give our opinion, love us or hate us. But Shawn, we're going to let the cat out of the bag right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the bottom line, folks. The only posing routine rounds that were, quote, scored when Shawn was competing, Shawn, arguably one of the best posers of all time, okay? So in the majority of shows, Shawn would have been considered the best poser out there. The only time Shawn ever won, okay, Milos, check it out. The only time Shawn ever won the posing round are shows that he won. All right. That tells you everything you need to know, whether they were really scoring the routines. Well, they're scoring the physiques, not really the routine. It's the physique while you're doing the routine. Listen, folks, this was nonsense. Okay, that one stat gives you everything you need to know. In arguably, what was it, 94, Shawn, 95,
Yeah,
when people
94.
think you should have beat Dorian?
Yeah, 94.
Is there a soul on this earth who thought Dorian Yates was a better poser than Shawn Ray? All right. If there was ever a time, Shawn, that you could have, should have, might have won, you could make a case for it, right? It was there, and you didn't even win that posing round.
Yeah, and the judges were different. The organization was being led by someone else, but there's not a lot of changes. It never counted. It doesn't count today. What you're seeing now is that because the athletes know that it doesn't count, because we didn't know that it didn't count it.
Right.
we
Yeah. Well,
always thought we always thought it counted. Flex, Chris, Vince Taylor, we
you
even
guys should have been
Gaspari thought
smarter
that
than
it
that.
counted. We believe that the posing was our signature. We believe that that's all you're going to get is the best that we have to offer, and so we put a lot of effort into our work. Today, the athletes know going in that it doesn't matter what they do in the posing round; it's not going to help the
Right.
scoring. So why put in the effort? And that's pretty
Well,
much where you're at.
yeah, you listen, you put it in to be a professional, but I mean, but past that, you're right. Here's a great question, Shawn, from Douglas. Why is Gaspari not mentioned as much as a legend of the sport, the way Shawn, Flex, Kevin, etc., arguably moved the game with his striated glutes and crazy vascularity, minus great structure? Does you think Rich gets any short end of the stick? I mean, I hear a lot of his name out there.
Well, I mean, it depends on where he's listening because Rich Gaspari, we know his track record. I gave
Yep.
Rich Gaspari the Shawn Ray Lifetime Achievement Award in
Yep.
Maryland back in 2014 or 15. Arnold gave him the
Yep.
Lifetime Achievement Award. We were all aware that the Arnold Classic was put on the map in 1989 because Rich won the very first one. I won the second one, failed the
Right.
test, went to Mike Ashley, came back for the third. Without Rich Gaspari, Lee Haney does not arise to the level that he was because before Rich Gaspari came along, Lee Haney was trying to find his footing. He found it in 1984 and he beat a 1985 Albert Beckles, who was damn near 50 years old at the time.
Right.
And in
Yeah.
1986, a young, hungry Gaspari came along to get second in 86, 87, and 88, I believe it was. And he had a really good bite at the apple, but we're going back almost 40 years. So Rich is sometimes not a part of the conversation because of the time. The time, it was so far away, and
Yeah.
Rich had to beat an aging Albert Beckles to challenge a very young Lee Haney, and that was it. When we start talking about myself and Flex and Vince Taylor, I mean,
Right.
it was deep. The depth of field, and you throw in a Nasser El Somadi, it was really deep in the 90s, even more so than the mid 80s when Gaspari was there.
And some names. Listen, I know a lot of the same great names get pushed around all that, but Vince Taylor is a great name. Again, you don't hear often enough. All he did was he was actually the winningest bodybuilder of all time at one time, and he was great. Charles Claremont, again, another great bodybuilder who doesn't probably get the just due that he should have gotten. Hang on, where is? Keep going down. From our boy Kenson at EP09. I don't see Derek making a top three this year. Is that possible, Shawn? That you see, and if he doesn't, well, let's go a little further. If you don't see Derek making the top three this year, who would be in his place in the top three?
Nick Walker, Hadi Choopan, and Samson.
So you think if he gets bumped out, it would be by Nick Walker?
Correct.
Well, that would be interesting because you've got a whole pile of guys who could take that spot. Nick being one of them, we give credit where it's due. Could he take that spot? He could. Traditionally, he hasn't beaten Derek, Hadi, and Samson, the new Samson. He beat Samson a couple of years ago, but Samson now is much better. So the track record, the money wouldn't be on Nick being that guy. However, you've seen the improvements. If Nick can keep that waist down and bring that, he's got a great back. He can hang with anybody in the world. Martin is very dangerous. Again, fourth place the other year. Missed the mark in Pittsburgh, but again, a very formidable physique. I still like Andrew Jack. I know we bring up his name. I don't know whether he's going to get here, but Behruz Tabani, should he be able to get here, could easily be one of those guys. And by the way, Shawn, somebody asked the other day, why do you guys always talk up Behruz? And I'm going to give you the answer, okay? there are only certain people that have seen Beirut in person, me and Shawn being two people, because he has not been able to travel to the States, but we actually see him when we go to Dubai. If you see Beirut in person, okay, you see a very, very good physique that I think could stand with anybody in the world. But unless you see him,
Say it again.
oh, sorry, I had a call coming in. We've seen Beirut in person over in Dubai. Most people have never seen Beirut in person competing. When you see him in person, very formidable and easily can hang with those top 5 guys, Shawn.
Yeah, the only big question mark would be how does he travel and how good does he look
Right.
standing next to an Olympian? Because Beirut is he's beaten William Bonac and some lesser bodybuilders that are not top 3 caliber. So traveling from Iran to Las Vegas is a tall order. Trying to acclimate is a tall order. I wouldn't want to talk about Beirut unless he was on the U.S. soil at least a good 2 weeks before the Mr. Olympia.
Let's see. What do you think of the automatic qualification list for Classic? I'm surprised there's not more European shows. I had the same critique. I think that's definitely something they can tweak for next year to include more worldwide. Shawn, what was your all-time heaviest weight in the off season? You never really got much out of shape, but
No, I got up to 242 pounds and it was a struggle. I was more comfortable at 235, 230-ish. And that was for my entire pro career. 235, 230 is where I wavered in my off season because I was only competing basically once a year.
from the mayor, should the open judges focus more on quality versus mass at all costs? Yes, they should. But again, like somebody just asked earlier, I lost it. It was up in the shuffle. Whether we should go back to the silhouettes, like the opening at the Olympia where they used to do the silhouettes, but then he questioned on his own question whether that would be effective because of all the wide waist. Look, people, who are we talking about here? There's a couple of guys that I would say have a wide waist, but it's not a lot of them. Hadi, I mean, could have a small, but he's got a small waist. Derek has a small waist. Samson certainly has a small waist. Andrew Jack's got a small waist. Fitzwater's got a small waist. Again, Beirut's put him in the mix. He's got a small waist for his size. So who are we really talking about? We talk about the big guts.
Who doesn't have a small waist, Bob?
Well, it's all relative though, right? Like when you see these guys, I mean, these guys are 240, 50, 60. Again, the bigger guys are close to 300 pounds. A 34-inch waist and a guy who's 300 pounds is a small waist.
Well, let me go back to what I said a year ago. Had Bumstead stayed the course and chose to go open bodybuilding, he would have become, or I could say, I wouldn't have minded him becoming Mr. Olympia because it would have been a reimagined look of what Mr. Olympia is supposed to look like. Bumstead had the it factor. He did the open once, and that was it. But had he stayed the course, he could have actually changed the look and feel of what Olympia looks like. And he would have been doing that at 230, 235. So it can all be reimagined, but the judges are going to have to allow themselves to go back to quality over quantity.
Another one from Douglas. True or false? Nick's rear double bicep is the best in the game right now. Top to bottom bicep peaks, detail depth, and outrageous lower body with cords for days. True or false? Nick's rear double bicep the best right now, Shawn?
Off the Olympia stage, because it hasn't been on the Olympia stage in 2 years, which means he's
Great
been
point.
standing next to a bunch of guys that are not Olympia caliber in these qualifying shows. And when he did, he lost to Derek.
Derek beats, once again from Kenson. That's EP09, folks. A little shout out to him. He's got a great podcast. Check it out. Derek beat Samson at the Arnold. Nick arguably beat Derek in Pittsburgh. No, he didn't. Samson looks improved. Nick is massively improved. Hadi is ridiculous. Derek does not, and Derek doesn't sound confident. Well, listen, you can sound any way you want. You can look any way you want. It's all about who shows up on game day. Listen, Derek looked good enough to win the Arnold over the present champ, Samson Dauda. Now, granted, Samson wasn't 100%, but Derek arguably was. Yeah. Derek, not at 100%, still beat 100% Nick Walker. So you got to keep things in context. But, Shawn, I got to go back to exactly what you said. Listen, we're not we would love to see Nick on stage, but he hasn't made it for 2 years. So
Yeah.
you really can't go out of your way to make any predictions until we actually see him on the Olympia stage.
This is a pressure cooker show for Derek. It's not so much as Nick. Nick has to make it to the show. He arrives, it's a success. I believe he'll be a top 5 finalist. Derek, on the other hand, has a built-in excuse for why he's not going to be at his best. Arnold Classic and Pittsburgh. He's already beat twice. He's already won twice. That's all in less than 12 months. Now you're going to ask him to do it 4 times in less than 12 months? It's a tall order for a little guy that's never been there, never done that. I'm not 100% convinced that Derek is going to be his absolute best in October.
Well, he's going to have his chance, and he is. Let me tell you, if you know Derek, he's very confident. Trust me, that's not a show, and he should be. Listen, the guy has won the 212 Olympia. He's won the Mr. Olympia. He just won the Arnold at $500,000, so he's doing okay. This one from Imani. I agree. Derek will be around 4th place. Samson will be 2-time Mr. Olympia if he comes in 100% on. Yes. Nick 2nd, Hottie 3rd, and 2nd and 3rd can be interchangeable. Let me say this. I've said this for the last, 3-4 years now. I'm going to say it again. Samson controls his own destiny. Samson, by far, is put together the best shape, best structure. He's got tons of muscle. Conditioning, he's now gotten down where it was enough to win the Olympia, and it looks like it's improved, Shawn, from that guest appearance we saw just last week. So he looks like he's dialing it in. But make no mistake, folks, in a perfect world that everybody shows up, everybody nails it, 100%, Shawn, first time in history, Samson Dauda would win the Olympia again.
100%. And if I'm Samson, I try to get to Vegas a little early. I would try to be there the last 2, maybe even 3 weeks. Because that desert sun, that desert heat, it does a lot for you. And the last thing I want is any travel issues coming internationally. I don't want to be comfortable at home. I want to be out of my element. I want to be in fight mode. I want to be in pre-contest preparation where there's 0 things to do besides eat, sleeping, and training. My advice to the champion, get to Vegas early, sequester yourself in some good gym, get a lot of that sun, and block out the noise and repeat the title.
Shawn, you suffer from any tendonitis issues. You guys, how do you manage? Shawn, any injuries to report? How you doing at the tender age of? Aren't you going to be? Aren't you going to be 60?
I'm knocking on wood. There's absolutely nothing going on with my flexibility, my joints, ligaments, and tendons. And in hindsight, I got to pat myself on the back that I knew when to say when. I knew when the competition was over for me. And I also realized that in post-retirement mode, it's not how I look, it's how I feel. It's important to have my flexibility. I travel the world. But I also look at some of my peers that continue to go to the well, 1 too many reps, too many, try to challenge themselves, see if they still got it, and doing heavy squats and heavy bench and trying to look a certain way to please a certain audience. And I've never been that motivated to think highly of what others look at me in whatever state of being I'm in. I feel good, I'm flexible, and I'm doing other things. Again, I'm riding my bike, I'm swimming, I walk, I exercise, I stretch, and that's enough. I'm good with that. So I don't know how I can get hurt treating my body that way.
All right, this one from Doug again. Doug's putting out some good questions here. Doug, appreciate that. How does Mr. Olympia judging criteria change over time when it's generally the same judges year to year?
Yeah, and that's that is something that's pretty mythical to me because I was always a proponent of transparency. I always was arguing that if you have 60 pro judges, we should never have consecutive judging at the Olympia. We don't need continuity of opinions. We need to have a variety of opinions to find out who the best champion is. And those opinions should come from anyone that's qualified to judge an Olympia contest. If I can judge the New York Pro, if I can judge the Texas Pro, the Tampa Pro, the Italian Pro, I should be able to have an opportunity to judge the Mr. Olympia. I'm not sure of the protocols on how these judges are hand chosen. I know it's changed over the decades. I'm 24 years in retirement, but I do know that we have repeat judges still that were in the same rotation as when I was there. I'm not a big fan of that. The athletes have not complained about that. So whatever the strategy is for picking these handful of judges for the Olympia, I have no say in the matter, nor am I interested.
This one from Giddy, idea for the Olympia. Crowd favorite voting through live stream platform for a fan favorite award might increase buys. Giddy, Where you been, man? They have a People's Champ Award that we've been giving away for some years now.
It's a belt. It's a
That the
belt.
fans actually do vote. And actually, I prompted twice throughout the night for people to go on the screen. Comes up on the big screen. So get that pay-per-view, buddy, if you can't get out to Vegas.
Hey, hold on
That
a second,
information.
Bob. So, Bob, let me do a trivia then. Tell me, out of the many years that they've been giving this award away, because I know at least 3 years,
Right.
who's won that award?
Oh, well, Hottie Chupan has won it. Let me think. Who else has won it?
Rolly Winkler.
Rully Winkler. That's right. There was some speculation Rully might be coming back, but I just don't see it. I mean, there's nothing more to be gained at this point. I know he had some real bad shoulder issues and some surgery, but I'm not a proponent of guys coming back once you've kind of done what you can do. Now you're in your 40s. Nobody in the history of bodybuilding has ever come back with the Sands in the women's.
Bob, soon as you take a picture working out, you're coming back. I mean, at the end of the day,
I mean, listen, he looks great, but listen, in the men's division, the comebacks are not great. Okay, it's not like fine wine here.
By the way, I think Big Ramy won that award too, the People's Champion.
Big Ramy, yes, he did. Another one that
I think it's all been foreigners, non-U.S. people. Did Derek win it? I'm not sure if Derek won it.
I don't think so. Yeah,
I think it's
nobody's beating Samson if he's 100%. Oh Lord. Let's see what. Please don't starve. I got to make it out to the. Oh, yes, you do. Drink plenty of water. I don't know. These guys are like talking amongst themselves over here. Let's scroll back.
We've already exceeded 1 hour on the live. I mean, we got to leave something.
All right, man. Wow, time is flying. Yeah. We still got people, man. They're scroll back up.
I got football coming on tonight, boys.
Speaking of which, how about my boys last night getting rooked on that bad call at the end of the bro? If that ain't interference,
don't make it one call. CD Lamb didn't show up for that game. You talking about slippery hands? CD Lamb lost that game.
Here you go, Shawn. Can we get a Shawn Ray at the Masters Olympia? He looks like he's carrying a good amount of muscle. Shawn, how much money would it take for you to come out of retirement, start training on your Panatta equipment that you got at your gym there now? You got the best equipment in the world. Right? Dieting then is the same as dieting now, same stuff, right? How much money would have to be offered to you as a guarantee to make a comeback and actually put those trunks on and get on stage?
Well, I'm no Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson, all he has to hear is the dollar amount and he's in. He's coming back to fight Mayweather at all of 5'5" and 150 pounds. I'm not interested in doing something I've put to bed. It's not about money. I never started to be a bodybuilder for money.
Right.
I love money just like anybody else. But you got to remember that what we did and the level we did it was dangerous. We put ourselves in harm's way. Picture yourself as a high-speed Formula One racer or a heavyweight fighter like Tyson, or a football player. There's a reason when you walk away that you don't want to go back, because the further from the stage I get, the more aware I am of how dangerous it is. The squats, the deadlifts, the curls. It's easy to pop a muscle, throw out your hip, blow out your back. I don't want to go down that road because I'm too aware of how easily that could happen.
This guy says the People's Champ. I thought that was The Rock. Let me tell you something, jabroni. The Rock right now looks like he trimmed it up a little bit so that he's going in a different direction. But interested in hearing your predictions for Missy, it's supposed to be Truscott, as she makes a big jump into women's physique this year at the O. Well, let me correct you on a few things. Her name's not Prescott, it's Truscott. And she's not making a jump into women's physique. She should be going to women's physique, but she's going to figure,
100%.
which is wide open because guess what? The GOAT, 8-time, has now retired, and that is up for grabs. Probably she's going to be in the mix, but she's got to overtake a very good and perennial runner-up in Jessica Reyes-Padilla.
I like Lola Montez for that division to be the champion. However, I've always thought Missy Truscott was women's physique. I think she's actually in the wrong division, but since the judges decided to give her an award, she has to play it out. She's got to see where it takes her. But if she were to go women's physique, she would be a contender right off the bat.
All right, Shawn, does Regan Grimes, Missy will definitely be in the top 5. Whether she can win, we're going to see. But does Regan Grimes have the mental edge, hunger, and drive to fulfill his incredible potential? or will he be a promise unfulfilled?
I don't know him personally like that. He seems like a gentle giant. He has the structure. We said that. But
Yeah,
so did Matt Mendenhall and Roy Littlemeyer. So did
yeah,
Bob Paris.
yeah.
Bob Paris went about as far as you can go. He went to the Olympia. He competed as a pro. I mean, he's the modern day look of what we'd like to see, but the judges are ultimately going to control his destiny. It may not be enough. Come in. My bad. It may not be enough because the judges have a tendency to want to see more mass, more freakiness on a body that pretty. And I don't want him to ruin his body trying to please the judges.
Let's see. You were cutting up there for a little bit, Shawn, but
Yeah, that was my timer, Bob. It's like an hour and
your,
15
your
minutes
timer for
already.
what? To
At
go
some
eat
point, I
to
got to
go
go to the
eat
bathroom.
pizza? What do you got a timer for?
To use that toilet right there, bro. I'm holding it for you.
5 minutes, Shawn.
I'm
Uh,
drinking this.
uh,
Staying hydrated.
how does a guarantee work when it comes? This is from Kenson. To the Olympia making an offer to a competitor to show up. What do you mean? How's that work, Kenson? You would say, Shawn, we're going to give you 20 grand guaranteed, no matter what, just to show your face. Let's just say
Well,
hypothetically you wanted to do some, some past champions duel type thing, right?
sure.
Look, you give a guarantee to each guy. Listen, we're going to give you guys each 20 grand to get your ass in shape, to show up. We're going to sell tickets on it, right, and all that. And then you're going to have a prize money, but you're going to get a guaranteed appearance fee. Is really what it is.
So, well, and let the promoter do the talking, Bob. If that were going to happen, it would be either the promoter or the event. Think boxing,
Yeah,
okay? Think
exactly.
boxing. Um, think numbers. The promoter will say to Mike Tyson, "What's it going to take?" Mike says 20 million. The promoter then goes to try to find the 20 million. Okay, we got the 20 million for Mike. We got to find the rest. There's sponsors. There's maybe pay-per-view. There's an audience out there that may want to see it. And if that audience is willing to pay for it, then you're willing to pay the talent. And then the talent decides whether or not they want to make that appearance. Back when I was competing, we had a thing called guest posers. You might have heard about it if
The
you go
old
way
days.
back in time, but a lot of the big shows were supported with guest posers that would come in and do a guest performance. They weren't 100%. I know it's gone the way of the 8-track. A lot of that doesn't exist anymore. But the promoter would find a sponsor that would be able to help out to fly the athlete to do a guest performance. I thought Kevin Levrone should have gone that route when he made his comeback back in 2017 or 18 as a guest performer at the Olympia. He chose he'd rather compete, got dead last, which is what I told him he was going to get. But he could have got a guarantee from maybe a supplement company, a clothing company, someone that wants to market the process. So if, for example, Mutant came to Shawn Ray and said, "Hey, Shawn, we're willing to give you $20,000 to go and perform at the Mr. Olympia, not compete," I would have to consider that because that's business 101. If they said, "Shawn, I want to give you 100,000 to compete," I would politely decline because it's just not enough money for me to put my my life at risk because it is my life. And then also my legacy and what I consider I want the last photographs to look like. Anyone can be bought and paid for, but you get what you pay for sometimes. You want to see an old elderly bodybuilder who's been retired for 20 years pose, it's going to cost a pretty penny and it might not be pretty when you see it.
Yeah, listen, everybody wants to know why we're not big fans of the Masters. And listen, we're all for anybody that wants to get out there and do their thing. But physically, we are in a physical sport, people. This ain't like going to the
Yes.
Yankee Old Timer Day at the thing and seeing the guys walk out and wave. And, getting on stage in a pair of in your underwear, okay, leaves a lot to be desired. And some of these guys look like they're melting.
Well,
So
let me
it's
make
not
a
always
quick
good.
compare. Let me make a quick comparison, Bob. When's the last time you saw the old timers baseball game where they're 60 plus hitting, hitting and throwing
Right.
baseballs? You never seen it. How about the football? You seen the guys at 60 years old strap
No.
in one more time? How about the boxers 60 plus?
Right.
It doesn't happen.
Didn't they make a
There's a
movie
reason.
out of that with De Niro and Stallone, where they're two old boxers still going at it? Here's
That's a
the
movie.
mayor. Mayor wants to know, Bob, where will Nick place? Well, listen, this will be the thing that gets all the headlines this week, Shawn. Okay, pay attention, everybody. Nick will place without question in the top 10 at the Mr. Olympia.
Fair enough. That's a fair enough prediction. I believe that I'll agree with you. I think there's an odds-on chance that he could break the top 5 based on a number of scenarios.
I think here's what I'm going to go with. All right, real answer, everybody. Okay, because me and Nick were going at it a while. Listen, we were having some fun with it. People, don't take it. Even me and him didn't take it that seriously. He was making shirts. I was texting him to send me a shirt, and I'd wear it around. All right, it's not that big of a deal, people. Okay, we all hope Nick can get on stage. Absolutely, he's one of the best in the world. He deserves to be there. We deserve to have him there in the lineup. Where can Nick place? In my professional opinion, I think Nick can go anywhere from 4th to 7th. Now, why do I not have him in the top 3? Well, he's got to get past Hottie, Samson, and Derek, okay, which he hasn't done yet. So that's not crazy, okay? Then you got, as a contender, Martin, who arguably, if we're going to go with arguments, could have beat him in New York last year, not this past one, but didn't do it, but he got close, right? You got Martin, Andrew, and Beirut. Again, we're going to go with the idea that Beirut can get here, okay? Those are 3 legitimate contenders who, on any given day, listen, Nick is tremendous, but these guys are tremendous also. So is it crazy? Where do I think he'll place? He's going to be up in that mix. Then it's just a matter of game day. Who brings it and who don't? So that's the real answer. I just hope he's there because we want to see Nick on that Olympia stage because he's a top Olympian. So,
well, twice I said he wasn't going to be there, and twice he didn't show up. So he could
well,
be anywhere between 4th place and 7th place. That's fair enough.
All right, last one here. Which of the top Olympia contenders do you think would be the best to represent Mr. Olympia on social media, guest postings, etc.? Shawn, if we're looking for an ambassador, I mean, who are we looking for here? Is that part of the criteria?
Well, I mean, our best ambassador we have clearly is Samson, doing the business of carrying that crown around the world on tour, making appearances, and looking as good as he looks doing it. He has definitely put himself in the line of fire while he's making these appearances because he could be doing too much and it could be affecting his Olympia prep. He looks great right now by himself guest posing while these other guys are at home eating, sleeping, and training. So we're going to find out what the champion is made of. It's heavy as the head, heavy as the crown that wears, heavy as the head that wears the crown. Samson has the biggest head in bodybuilding, and he has the biggest crown. So my odds-on favorite is Samson, but he is doing a lot with that crown, and he is leaving the door slightly open for one of these young, hungry lions. That Gaspari, Labrada, myself, Flex Wheeler, Nashville somebody, none of us could penetrate. We're going to find out whether these other 2 cats can. I think it's a 3-man race.
Well, Shawn, before you get into a glycemic funk because you haven't eaten in an hour and 22 minutes, we're going to wrap this one up. Folks, I am on the road next week, so we're going to attempt, I'd love to attempt to do another live because I want to keep this rolling. We really appreciate everybody coming on with all your questions, especially throughout the week. You can always go on VOB Media, of course, as me and Shawn are going to be punching out episodes. And we will be back for an Italy review. Again, I will actually be in Italy next week, so perhaps that live is coming from the offices over at Panatta. But that's going to wrap it up for this week, folks. For Sugar Shawn Ray, I'm Bob Chick. Yo.